Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Gankun, and we'll be doing a deep dive into a new deck that's been built around a really cool character, Tartarus, the ultimate life form. So with this deck, you can do a lot of things. I haven't seen a lot of people really playing it in Japan or in the US, so wanted to showcase this. We brought this to a Galaxy Cup and brought back a winner card. So we'll talk about how this deck came together, the gameplay, and really what is the best way to think about starting off your own Tartarus deck. So let's start with the deck setup. So we're going to talk about the main character here, Absolute Tartarus, a fan favorite. So we're going to start off with 4 of these level 5 cards. Now with this card, this is your typical reveal 3 cards, draw a card, and take a card and then put the rest back in your discard. Now with this card, you're going to see that every discard that Tartarus can provide is going to be really important to your win condition. So we'll talk about this more when we talk about our favorite kaiju, but we're going to start off Tartarus at level 5s, and then we're going to include 3 additional level 5s because we really want to build a triple, so every level 5 is going to be important towards getting this end state. So, really solid. If they have a speed type, BP grade up, though more importantly, it's just going to serve as a level 5 on our way to level 6s. So, 7 level 5 Tartaruses. Then let's talk about our level 6s. This is one of the most insane level 6 double rares once you really put the Tartarus deck together. So with this one, it's going to let you discard 5 cards from the deck, and if there's a Tartarus card, you can take a card and discard 1 from your hand. So it's like a Scene Searcher, but for Tartaruses. I think the level 2 blue had a very similar effect. This is getting you what you want. Now with this, you can actually start a deck or start a hand without the level 7. This will very likely get you that much closer to hitting level 7 for your triple and getting 5 more names into your discard. A really key part for our ultimate setup. So with this, 7 level 5s, 7 level 6s, and we're going for our final lucky number 7, level 7 Tartarus. So this is kind of what the deck revolves around and sets up the rest of your game. So with level 7 Tartarus here, this card lets you discard a bunch of cards from your hand, and for every 2 cards you discard, you can give a Tartarus a BP grade down, and if you discarded 3 cards, you get to draw 3 more cards. So there's a lot to unpack here. Now with this card, it's going to be really tempting to think about how do I get to 4 discards and get twice as many BP grade downs. And my first advice is, after thinking about it a lot, trying out different combinations in the math, I think at this point with this setup, the 4 card discard is just a dream that really doesn't happen as much as you'd want it to. If you think about this game, you start off with 6 cards and you draw a card every turn. Now, if you have no draws, so you didn't hit your level 5 draw, because remember, the level 6 will not get you a net card in your hand, you will actually never hit 4 extra cards in your hand to be available for discard. You have to be drawing a card from some kind of ability. Now, you might be playing the level 5 draw here, so you should be having something. Now, if you do save everything you have for a 4 card discard, you can only target other Tartaruses. So if we look here, a level 5 is never going to beat it just because it's, whenever you BP down something, it usually caps down to a 7k. So these guys aren't going to help. This guy could help if you match it against the speed type. These guys aren't going to help. Again, these could help you against speed type. Common trend here, if you're playing against the speed type heavy deck, then it might come in handy. Now, this level 7 is probably the only one that could benefit from that 4 card discard, because you might be able to BP down something like a double back into 17k, and this will be an 8k. So I've chosen to not really want to lean into that 4 card discard and instead focus on discarding 3 and trying 3 cards. So this is the Tartarus setup, 7 level 5s, 7 level 6s, and these 4 level 7s here. Mainly leaning into this one. This is just like an 8k single, and if anything, this might be the first card I might replace in the deck. So here, this is the core Tartarus setup. You get BP grade downs, you you get a bunch of discards. You're able to have a lot of consistency because of these 2 cards, helping you search through at least like 8 different cards in the deck to hit this level 7. The level 7 is the least one you would need in a starting hand, and the level 5s and 6s are really key to that. So that is a Tartarus setup. Now let's talk about what you want to do with the rest of the cards. So with this, we're going to talk about the Scene card. So the Scene card, the Absolute Galaxy Fight, or Ultra Galaxy Fight, Absolute Conspiracy. This is the one that lets you just build towards that same game plan of consistency. You get to reveal 3 cards, and if you have an Absolute Tartarus, you can discard a card from your hand to put that into your hand. That really gets you so many more options to hit the level 6s you're looking for, or that level 7, especially if you're playing a level 5 draw turn 1. The chances of you actually hitting a tie and playing Scene, very high, so really reliable. Now, talking about the rest of the game. The one that actually helps you win this game is 5 King. So we're going to play 4 of these 5 Kings. This is going to be a 17k, and if you think about the recent meta, there's so many BP grade downs. However, you know what can't be BP graded down? A EX card. So with this, it's going to be a 17k, your opponents can't BP grade down it, whether it's like a Geel Arc effect, a Rosso Scene, no matter what it is, 17k is 17k, and it's going to be a really strong lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, lane 5 play that once you've set it up, which we've seen Tartarus has that many discards, that is going to really win you that game. So 5 King is our key win condition here. Now, to set up 5 King, we're going to talk about a couple cards you want to play. Bolton is going to be the easy one, though not as crucial. Usually you can afford to have one lane that's just going to lose, and Bolton's not a bad 9k. It'll be 8k, you'll likely discard 2 Kaiju, so 9k. And it gets more names in your discard, guarantees you hit that 5 King in case you're just missing something you need that last draw. Also, if you're going against Kaiju mirror matches, which you'll later see, Bolton's really nice because you can end up hitting 10 or 11k with those matchups. Just as a single card, not too shabby, and you get that discard. So Bolton, a nice Kaiju support here. Now, the rest of this deck, I thought about, what happens when you don't have your level 7 right away and you need to stall a turn or 2. So a card that both gives you 1 or 2 extra draws and helps you solve the game is our favorite Zeton. So we have 2 Zetons here. These are going to let you draw cards and help you hopefully draw into one of these options. You have 2 of the promo Zeton, you have 2 of the anti-BP grade up Zeton, and 1 of the anti-monotype Zeton. So any of these can be 20ks in the right conditions, and it's just a matter of looking at what the meta looks like, and you can adjust and rearrange these numbers as you want. If you're playing against Rosso Blue, the monotype Zeton is a killer. A lot of the greatest, best level 3s that Rosso Blue wants to play, they're all basic types. Level 4s are basic, the level 3s are all basics, their level 1s are all basics. So other than a few level 2s, playing this at the right time could win a really key turn. Alternatively, playing against a bunch of Ginga Victories and Trigger Darks, anti-BP grade up, a real reliable choice. And if you're playing against, classic Jeeds, Mono Arcs, Promo Zeton, always going to be an annoying 20k. So with this, you probably want just some combination of Zetons. Easy win. With the Tartarus effect letting you draw so many cards, you're going to hit the card you need when you need it, hopefully. So the rest of this deck is really just setting up Zeton, or 5 Kings. So we're going to play a bunch of names. I mixed around a bunch of different names from the original Day 1 deck videos. So this is now like a Week 1 deck video. So a reliable one, Metron here, 15k, play against Ultra Heroes, nice quick way to win. Then we have a Zomera. If you're playing against Geel Arc, Trigger Dark, Omega, that is really going to be extra annoying to your opponent. Just 18k like that, singles, can be hard for them to keep up, and that's really what you want from these singles, just the most power you can get from one card, because we want to keep our cards light, that way we can afford to play the Tartarus effect. So then we have Spherosaurs. Old Classic, it's 15k against basics, which so many decks use. If you're playing against Rosa Blue, if you play that, it should beat most Rosa Blue 2/3s. Very helpful. A lot of Gengar victories. If they just don't have their 17k, 15k is always nice. And being able to, again, play a 15k for a single, or worst case, a 9k single. Really great into winning later games. Then I've thrown in a Curiloid. Again, a nice 10k single, always reliable, and if you're going against a Tiga, you just plop this down and you're in great shape. I think from there, we threw in some other Kaijus. I think this is where I just started to experiment. You can always swap these with your favorite. I put an if here. If you're able to time it right and you know an opponent is going to put their activate abilities in lane 2, you could put this down, forces them to build a triple to block it, and they can't use their abilities without giving that up. So really good in the right matchups if you know when to use it. I think lastly, these are just some big names that I'm hoping that can be useful. Swede, 11k as a single. Again, with this formula, really solid. And they might have BP grade downs, which in certain matches, they'll just let this one get discarded and power 5 king. If not, great single. And lastly, I threw in a Bemular. It's the promo card of this set, so I just wanted to mess around with it. Again, another one I might swap out, but hey, if you played the game, you're later in the turns, you've got a couple 5 kings out, this does get a nice buff. And we have 6 more slots. So if you watched the original Day 1 deck videos, I put Mephisto here. Being able to get a 15k double and a plus 1000 is really good in this deck. I will say that this deck often caps out at 17k. So your 5 kings, if you play them too early, you'll just end up forcing a lot of ties. But I thought about, well, what's a card that will get more things into discard and can even make itself stronger, greater than 15k, and help other Kaijus be stronger? And you know what? The answer is your good old reliable Belial. So we got 6 spots here, and we decided to play Belial here. And it's just a classic card. The Scene Search gets 5 more cards into discard, a really great setup towards your 5 king. Then you also have the Belial here when you hit a double, which happens, kind of reasonably enough if you're going to draw enough cards and you set up for it. That Belial becomes an 18k double. You're going to have cards in your hand. Or if it's winning by itself as an 11k, you can just grade up that Swede, you can grade up that Curiloid, that Zeton, the 5 king if you don't have it set up, and you're just transferring so much power into your field that you hit this pair, you hit a 5 king, you hit this. There's just so many good options that if your opponent just doesn't have enough power, they will be swept away. So that is the setup here. Talk through our Tartaruses, the 5 kings, all the other Kaijus, our Belials, and really solid deck. Now let's talk about how you actually play this thing. So real quick, we're just going to show the full deck list for anyone who wants to see it all in one screen. And I admit that I put the wrong Bemular card here, not the promo, but the other promo. But you can swap that out again for the right Bemular box topper or your fan favorite Kaiju. So with this, the gameplay is really just setting up towards that triple. So you're going to want to play a level 5 Tartaruses in your first or second lane, play level 6, and start discarding things. As soon as you've hit enough names, you start playing 5 king, you start playing your other Kaijus, and you just want to try and match up single for single what will win you as many lanes until you're able to sweep your opponent by turn 4 or 5. So it's all about that positioning. If you see a good opportunity for Zeton, you know they're going to play their Ginga in lane 3, you play that anti-BP grade up Zeton. You know that they're playing so many monotypes, you play your anti-monotype Zeton. You see them playing against Arc or Gale Arc, you either play promo Zeton or you play Zomera, and you're going to win those lanes. So with this, here we're going to just walk through a couple of these match videos to see what you want to do with these gameplays. So here, this is round 1 of our Galaxy Cup. We're playing a Kaiju Mirror. So this is actually an interesting one where you're not going to focus on your Zetons. Instead, you're just going to want to see how do you get your 5 kings online. So with this, just playing through here, you can see that on lane 1, they're going to play their Belial. we're going to play our Tartarus and get extra cards in our discard. Now, the setup here is just, like we said, get to a 5 king. In the Kaiju matchup specifically, though, we're actually going to see more value from Balton because it's going to get discards in your, or more card names in your discard, and Balton's just going to be a much stronger single. So here, we get to draw into 5 kings, and it's kind of going to come down to who gets more 5 kings or who gets more strong Kaijus. And one thing though is Belial does have BP grade ups, so you're gonna not have to rely on just your Tartarus BP grade down. You're gonna want to set up how do you have the better singles. This is one where things like Swede, really solid, Kyriloids, being able to give them BP grade ups, even hitting sorry, not Metron, but the Severasaurus. If you hit that into a Belial double, you just want to keep as much pressure as you can. So we're going to speed up this just a bit, that way we can talk through more of the match. So let's just skip ahead to game 2. Now here we do have a Balton against 5 king, so it's unfortunately going to lose. However, what you'll see in Belial decks is that they actually don't hit 5 king as fast as they can, just because they don't have as many sources of discard if they're not using, hitting all their scene searches. So with this, we're gonna have to be very careful. Balton, we want to get our names maximized, but we don't want to enable them, because if they don't hit their 5 king, Balton actually is stronger than a 5 king single. So with here, hit some names, and we're just going to try to go for a setup where we can BP grade down at the right time. Hope they don't have stronger singles for the rest of the later parts of the game. So here next, it's really just coming down to how do we want to set it up and draw into as many of our own 5 kings. So we have one 5 king here. We got our Tartarus, and this is actually a solid setup. We're gonna have so many names that we BP graded down, our 5 kings online, and as long as they don't magically hit their Belial or their own 5 king, which they only have 2 names in hand, I can afford to discard 3. And the scene search did not hit enough names. I think they have only 4 names so far, actually 3, so we just need 2. Hope they don't get 2 more, and we win the game. And with that will be game 1. 5 king is 17k, Balton's like 11k, and Tartarus is going to BP grade down that. Now, it's always scary though, if they did have their level 7 Belial, of course, they would have been able to BP grade up that BP down. But the hope is that now they're forced to discard cards, and you can just keep up the pressure. So, I want to emphasize how important that level 7 Tartarus ends up being. We'll actually watch how I think a misplay in turn 1 can cost the rest of the game. So, this Tartarus is really key to drawing extra cards, which help you set up 5 king, help you draw 5 kings, and this always should be your priority number 1. 5 kings might look tempting when you see them in your level 5 draw, but remember, this is a Tartarus deck, not a 5 king deck. So here we're going to, let's see, they take lead, we're going to play our level 5 draw, and they're going to get their Belial out. And let's see, we see that they take a Belial, they have 2 names in discard, so we're going to do this. I think in this case, I actually had the level 7 Belial in my hand, so that level 6 Belial looked very tempting. Lets me get some scenes in discard, it lets me play the 18k, and by doing this, I actually forego the level 7, and this ends up being the biggest mistake. So, Haruki here is deciding, and we're in turn 2. So Haruki plays. I'm going to try and see if I can get our discard set up, that way we can hit our 5 king. And I do my Belial scene search, so I get to discard, and hopefully set up 5 king, get the scenes, those will be helpful, but this play is not going to actually net me a lead, so I wouldn't be able to play the scene, so it's off to a risky start. Even though we have a bunch of names in discard now, we're not actually set up to really carry that momentum. So Haruki gets his G'd identity out. Even if we do play our level 7 Belial in lane 2, we're always one card away from winning that lane, but you still need to think through the rest of the flow. I think so here, Haruki's deciding on lane 3, and we will play our own lane 3. We're forced to level up a Belial here because we can't afford to just lose all 3 lanes. And Haruki does have that triple in lane 1. So here we have Bolt on. Metron is going to be stronger because they don't have to activate that effect. And now we're just going to be in this game where I will be forced to discard a card just to stay in the match. And since we do want to play our Tartarus discard effects, giving up cards is always not the situation you want to be in. So yeah, they give that Metron a BP grade up, and then I'll discard 3 cards. It'll be a 11k I think, but still not strong enough, so I'll have to give a BP grade up to the Belial just to stay in. So losing 2 lanes, and this is typically the matchup you don't want to see with Tartarus. As I said, it was consistent to hit the level 7, and you don't want to miss those opportunities to grab it when you have it. I think I play my own Metron. It will be able to eye that Zomera, but still not the place you want to be in because I now have multiple losing lanes, and we're just going to stalling out at inevitable defeat. I think if we skip ahead a little bit, we will just end up where by lane 5, we're just down too many lanes to really turn this around. So Haruki's got his 5 king set up, and he can BP grade up cards, and with that, Kirilloi won't be enough. So we lose game 2, we learn a lesson, and takeaway, don't skip the level 7 Tartarus. It's always really important. For here, we get a redemption, we see level 7 Belial again, we have the Tartarus. In this case, I actually have the level 7 Tartarus, so now is a safe time to grab a Belial, not when you don't have it. So this is the much better start, and we're just going to power through the Kaiju Mirror. I do think this is the trickier one, just because your singles and their singles are going to be very similar. So it's really just going to come down to you being more effective with finding and setting up 5 kings. Just fast forward a bit. So they're going to have a Spherosaurus, which is going to be very annoying again into a Belial, as that is 15k against our 12k. Granted, we can always discard a card to flip that lane. So as we're thinking through here, really we're just trying to look at how do we win these later lanes, because Belial is likely going to always win that first lane, and we want to at least set up things that can keep the game going. So by this point we have 4 names. We do have to get 1 more to stay in the game, but with Belial though, the nice thing is you can always discard a card from hand as soon as you have that 5th name. And then our 5 king will be online, which will guarantee us lane 3. We have a surefire way to win lane 2, and it's just a matter of how do we get more kaijus to keep the momentum going. So going ahead to lane 4, we do have to keep cards discarded just to stay in the game, but we're very close to hitting our 5 king. So So as soon as we draw that last kaiju name, we'll be able to get that online and guarantee we win lane 2. So with here, Bolton is our savior. As annoying as it might be, it gets those names in discard, and we'll hope that, you know, if we hit enough names, it actually does beat a Curioloid. So Haruki is going to use a discard just to keep Curioloid strong, and we do hit our name. So even though Bolton's not going to win, we're forcing Haruki to discard cards, and 5 King is now online. So this is a situation we really want to be in. 5 Kings online. Boltons are actually really strong in the Kaiju Mirror because they're going to hit 11k against any 10k singles. And we just want to keep the momentum going, forcing them to, Haruki to have to keep discarding cards just to stay in. So now we're going into a turn 5. A Bolton set up in well in lane 4. We hit another Bolton. So again, this will be potential 11k against the Zomera 10k. So as long as one of these hits what they need to, we can win the game. So here, Haruki's going to again have to discard to keep the Zomera online at 14k. So it's just going to come down to, can this Bolton hit 6 kaijus? So I'm going to do the Bolton, and we don't hit enough kaijus. But it keeps the game going, which is really what we want. Now it's just a matter of, you know, next one that hits the Bolton wins us the game. And you know, Haruki's only down to 2 cards, so it helps us keep this going. And I mean, this is kind of really fun to see though in a Kaiju Mirror matchup. It's just trying to call which Kaiju is the one that's going to win you that game. So we play our lane 6. Haruki decides whether or not he's going to do a level up here. I think he goes for it, and he does win it. Our level 7 here is not going to be stronger than his level 9, but that's fine. We're able to make sure we win those other 3 lanes. And we're going to hit enough kaijus, so we've got a win here, we've got a tie there. We discard that last card for force VP grade up, and those are the games we want to win. We have a tie actually in what is that, lane 5. And yeah, this was a round 1 for our game. We're back at we're going to continue the rest of the Galaxy Cup in a future video. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this video on Absolute Tartarus. The match videos might have been a bit long, but I think you get to see those really interesting matchups between this, the other Kaiju decks. I don't think we'll show often a Kaiju Mirror with this. And the Belial was a really fun addition. I think you'll see with this and some other ones, when you hit the 6-7 Belial, really great way to tie everything together. So hope everyone enjoyed this. And thank you. Try out this deck yourself and let us know in the comments what you think of it. Bye.